On this podcast, we primarily cover spiritual topics, and today we have a special guest, someone we've had on the podcast before, and her name is Erin Diedling. She is a therapist, an energy healer, clairvoyance, a wonderful networker, among many other things. Let's welcome back Erin Diedling.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew.
Of course.
I love the show. I love where you're taking it.
Thank you.
Not just because you have me on.
I see how it is. No.
The episodes that don't involve me at all are awesome.
Nice. So yeah, I think we got a juicy topic. I think last time we kind of just talked about our, the spiritual journey and, some clairvoyance and meditation and etc. But today, speaking on the topics of lucid dreaming and astral projection. So basically what this is going to be, for those that are listening or watching, it's going to be two psychics or clairvoyants sitting down and just reading the overall energy of the subjects of being able to lucid dream and wake up in your dreams and astral project and just what goes on in the dream space and how to wake up. I don't know, are you ready to dive in?
I am.
All right, so I'm just going to take a moment and close my eyes and just kind of reground and reset. I'm just going to read from Gold. Okay, just let me know when you're ready and we can begin.
I'm good to go.
All right, cool. Okay, I figured maybe we just start with just lucid dreaming, what it looks like to wake up in the dream space or just be conscious in the dream space, and just kind of start there, and whenever you have a picture, just go for it.
And are we reading anyone in particular or just the topic? Sorry,
yeah.
I should have gotten.
No, yeah. So just the concept, just the topic itself. Nothing really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kind of overall general. Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I'm noticing, my first image that I see is I'm just seeing a picture of an astral body. And again, for those that are listening, it's an astral body. It's just that dream body or energetic body we use in the dream space. And that's what I'm seeing is this astral body. I can see the astral aura, which is just the energy field around the dream body. So I see that, but what I'm focusing on right now is there's this. It almost looks like a hula hoop around the astral aura. And it's bright, it's like an intense bright white. So there's this thin white ring around the entire astral aura. And it looks like there's a portion, so it goes around at 360 degrees. And it looks like there's even a part of it that will connect into somewhere in the back of the head. So I'm not quite entirely sure what I'm looking at. I don't know if this is like some sort of control or limitation or some sort of block, if you will. But it almost looks like there's this ring. It's white, and part of this ring will connect in somewhere into the back of the skull of some sort. And it looks like, again, then I even see white in the center of the brain or pineal gland area of the actual astral body itself. So there's a whole lot of unconscious programming or some sort of control or blockage with that. So I'm just going to read this a little further, and if you have anything, feel free to go for it.
Well, I think maybe this could be my own. My sense is it's a lot of people who are watching the topic, who are watching your podcast, maybe experiencing this, where it's a lot of effort, resistance, why bother, the stronger being the why bother energy of why would one do this? And my overall sense is this is a control or a block on one being able to dream lucidly, or to wake up in the dream. So, I mean, it could be my own block. My sense is that people who will be watching this handle it. So so I'd like to go in and just kind of clear the why bother energy around lucid dreaming.
Right.
So I think I'm reading the precursor to what you got. And you're reading it more specifically as it's going on. So, and as this is clearing, it's like, why bother? Why wouldn't you do this? So it's like it's evolving into, look at all the dreams the earthly dreams that you can create from this space, and the places that you can go get answers from this unlimited realm while your body is sleeping. And how productive and how creative and how much future manifesting you can do from this space. And it's and the block seems to be the block that is clearing out is more like all the people, energies, and beings that are dependent on the individual dreamer staying put, and not dreaming and not having access. So this is a big answer for me as well. And I'm going to look at it a little bit more and hand it over to you.
Sure. Yeah, so I think, so basically, yeah, what I'm looking at is some sort of limitation or block to lucid dreaming. So this is something that I probably handle myself and potentially other people as well. And what I noticed, I was like, well, okay, well, how does someone get past this, or what is this? Trying to just investigate it a little bit. And what I was seeing was there's a spiritual contract or agreements, and it looked like it was specifically, it could be with like a spiritual family. So a spiritual family is like a group of souls or beings that choose to work with one another and kind of incarnate with one another. And that's what I was seeing this agreement with is, essentially, you could have this agreement with your spiritual family, and it's kind of, well, if everyone's in agreement with this, then you're kind of you kind of have to sign off on it as well. So it's kind of to be unconscious as everyone else is. So that's something that people might handle in general. So that's one thing I'm seeing. If you have anything else you want to touch on, feel free to go ahead here.
Well, when I'm looking at more of the specifics, I'm getting exactly that, a spiritual family or the earthly biological family, and interdependent systems on maybe some of the people that are interested in this topic that are watching this, as well as myself, as well as you, as you're describing. And I'm seeing those contraptions in the brain, the white spot in the brain, the connections into the brain, that they're sort of opening up, and it feels like the reading is becoming a little bit unreal, in the sense that the dream world is opening up, like that it's a more out of body kind of a reading. It's a much dreamier, magical sense or space that this is opening up into, as the contraptions are clearing, the gadgets, the controls are clearing out on lucid dreaming, and the possibilities are opening up. And there's this limitless energy that's coming in as you and I are reading this on ourselves, on each other, but also that people watching this that are matching in to the program are clearing it in themselves too. Even though they might not be in a psychic reading state, or maybe aren't in a transmediumship state, they're watching this and it's like, oh yeah, pop, 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 pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can have that too. I can be unlimited as well, and I want to create from here too. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, go ahead.
I was saying that's what I see.
Oh, okay. So one thing I was looking at, well, what can you do, like, if you become lucid? Like, that's kind of what I was looking at. So, I already kind of looked at a limitation. Not to say that there's only one form of limitation, but I was just like, well, what can you do when you lucid dream? What does that look like? So one thing I'm seeing is flying seems to be a thing. Flying around the dream space, moving very quickly. That's one thing. It's kind of like almost something you'd see in a comic book type film or superhero film where, like a Superman or superhero, something that can just fly very fast or move fast. That's one thing I'm seeing. I just think everything's very different or random where like it's like similar to the real world, but then there's all these differences where like I'm getting one image of like being on a beach, and then there's this like door frame or like door that's just like in the middle of the beach, and the energy it's like, oh well, this could be a portal to like into another like or you could travel to somewhere else, or you could I don't really know the best words to describe it, but it's just you could literally just this go through the door and you can end up somewhere else basically. So flying and different ways of kind of like intentional traveling, it seems, I guess, is the best energy to describe this picture. If you have anything, feel free to go. I'm just kind of...
Yeah, and also I just want to let people who are watching this know, if you're watching on video, maybe you're hearing it, I tend to yawn a lot when I'm reading or doing healing work. I just yawn my head off. It happens. It's part of the deal. It's how I clear, how I keep my brain cool. Like dogs pant to keep their brains cool. Some psychics do too. And so I'm yawning as you're reading, and I'm yawning as I'm reading, Andrew. So what I am seeing, I think it, you might just call it the exact definition of lucid dreaming, is the part of the body that drops off when you go to sleep. There's this waking consciousness of the person in the bed that I'm seeing connecting in this extremely powerful way to the lucid dreamer, to a lucid dreamer's body. And all the stuff that what I'm looking at in this picture is all the things that someone would want while they're in their waking life, but it feels out of reach or unattainable or far, far away in the future. That conscious part that's like, I have a heart's desire, I have a want, I have a desire, but it's not going to happen, or it wouldn't happen for a really long time, or I have to work really, really, really hard, and then maybe I get the result. What's happening in the reading is the lucid dreamer is like, got it. Let me go grab it. Let me go grab that ring. And it's I can't even get over how profound the consciousness is of the waking body as well as the awakened dream body, and how much more access you have to information, because it's very much connected to this life and these wants in this person's life. And when I say this person, I'm kind of looking at everyone interested in lucid dreaming that's, tuning in because this is what they want. Mm-hmm. And maybe even people who haven't tuned in that want more of this lucid aspect of their dream life and how enriched it makes their waking life. So that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit more here. Because that last picture I saw where, you can fly and move quickly and different ways of literally of, a scene of a beach, and then there's a random door frame and you walk through and you end up somewhere else. It had this energy of like intentional travel or traveling somewhere else to a new scene or place or whatever it may be, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of continuing on with that, where everything seems very intentional based. I'm just seeing an image of someone's astral body, and what really I'm focused on is literally all the energy and within the center of the brain of the astral body. And there's this constant, like, literally a thought or just an intention will somehow create whatever. It's like you could have a thought in the dream space, and then suddenly it all kind of manifests around you. It's like kind of very magical, just the way like a painter in real life would just quickly paint something, paint an image or whatever. It's like, but just on the dream space, I'm just saying you have the thought, and then suddenly, an object can appear in front of you, or the whole scenery can change around you. Within, I know there's really no time or space there, but like, it looks like within a split second almost, if I can compare it to anything. So everything looks intentional based. You have a thought, and then boom, it's manifesting kind of in front of you, all around you, very, very, very effortlessly, very easily. If you have anything, feel free to go. But that's what I've been kind of just kind of watching, and just kind of been in awe of all that. That ability.
I'm seeing a lot of pictures of different aspects of the same thing you're reading. Like, if someone wants more money, they know where to go to on the astral plane to get the more money, or to get the wheels in motion to bring in, say, passive income or new job opportunity. That it's like they can start spinning those wheels. And one of the pictures I'm seeing like gear shifts inside of a clock. I'm also seeing another picture of there's a form of Japanese prayer, or I've seen it at temples in Japan where you spin this series of wheels, and it's like activating a prayer. I apologize if I'm offending someone who knows way more about this that can explain it more. But there are these wheels with prayer words on them, and then you spin them. They're like cylinders. And I'm seeing someone spinning those wheels and bringing more money, more opportunity. One of the things that's showing up for me is speaking engagements, that started to come up for me more. And then I'm just like, whoa, where did that engagement come up? That there's an aspect of the lucid dreamer that can go further out and get more specifics into the daily waking life. That wouldn't maybe make logical sense in ordinary time, but in the dream space, it's like, done. It's like kid in a candy store, literally and figuratively, with extreme precision and specifics. That's what I'm seeing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing are like practicing things in the dream space, and then in waking life or reality, doing the same thing. Almost like it complements. It's complementary. Like I'm getting images of, like for example, like learning a language or learning to play an instrument, and in the dream playing the instrument or learning whatever it is, and then in the waking reality, not that I'm not by any means am I seeing or trying to convey that you do something in your dreams one night and the next day you're a rocket scientist and you have it all figured out. But it's like it's complementary, or it like helps. It can be helpful learning a skill. Like if you're consciously in your dream just learning something, and then it can be helpful like the next day or the next week when you actually go to do that thing physically in waking life. just because there's a part of you that's kind of already kind of went through it a little bit, and it's like you can start to bring that into your physical body and just the waking life, practicing that actual thing, whether it's the language or instrument or anything really.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I'm seeing here. Okay. So I thought maybe we shift gears to the topic of astral projection. And just kind of look at the energy around that one and what that looks like. One thing I'm seeing is I'm just literally seeing a picture of a physical body and an astral body, and the astral body is trying to like separate from the physical body, and then I'm just seeing like I'm seeing a couple energies light up, and it's like, does this mean death? Like that's like the very first energy that lights up. Like it's like, oh well, does this equal death, basically?
Am I dying?
Yes.
No, just dreaming.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
Not so fast.
Yeah, so that's the
I'm
first
sorry.
thing. No, that's fine.
I interrupted.
Yeah, so that's the first energy that lights up, and then the second one, it's kind of this energy of like, well, it's funny. I'm seeing it more of that question of, well, am I going to die is almost like a survival kind of level, and then I'm seeing at a different level, I'm seeing kind of the same energy, but also like, well, does anything like exist beyond the physical body? So again, it kind of goes back into this like, well, if this separation occurs, does that mean death? So that's some pretty strong energies to kind of run into kind of right off the bat. So that looks like that can cause some uncertainty and fear and a lot of efforts for someone that would be trying to practice or work on this. So that's what I'm seeing right off the bat here. I'll keep looking though.
One thing a couple of things on the same kind of topic is the process of like kind of the rules and regulations in human terms of how to do it. And I'm seeing that there are some rules keepers on the planet that do a great job of keeping the rules and do a great job of delineating step 1, step 2, step 3, and there's also an ownership, like almost like a group agreement, like that's the only way to do it. And what I'm seeing is sometimes it's kind of like if you're getting a shot and the doctor is like, hey, tap your toes, or like before my chiropractor adjusts my neck, he's like, wiggle your toes, and then like he'll adjust me, and so that I kind of don't notice what's going to happen. So there's a form of distraction, which is what the rules tend to do. So when you're talking about, oh, am I dying? Like, oh, then I don't want to go there, and I'm not going to astral project. That what the rules and regulations kind of do is distract you from this part of consciousness that's like, maybe I don't want to astral project because I might be dying, and so there's an ownership over the rules and regulations of the right way to do it and the only way to do it, and some people I'm seeing can get caught up in that. And it can be really helpful if you're someone that needs step 1, step 2, step 3. So there's no wrong, like, it's not like there's a wrong way to do it, and that rules and regulations can be really helpful. And some people can also just project with little effort or thought to it, or very little distraction. So I'm seeing like there's a little bit of a tug of war over format, kind of like there are 1,001 ways to meditate. Sure. It's like, there are maybe 20 ways to astral project. And to honor, like, the energy is like honor the way that's right for you. And the way that's right for you might not be the group agreement of it's this step, this step, this step. And I think what it gets at is to do it in a grounded, structured way. So that's one thing that's coming up as I'm looking at it, and as I've looked at it, recently, and it's been a topic of interest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll hand it back over to you.
Okay. So the next thing I'm seeing is, so again, I'm just seeing an image of a physical body, an astral body, intertwined or, connected. What I'm seeing is the third chakra of the physical body. It's almost like there's a transference of energy going from the physical body to the astral body via this like silver cord. And it looks like it's almost like that transfer of energy or message. It's like telling the astral body, like, okay, like let's get ready. And it's almost kind of like a powering on, almost, or some sort of shift where it's like I see the astral body, it like receives this message, and then it kind of like turns on. I don't know if turn on is the right word, but just kind of like it lights up, it gets stimulated, and then it goes a little beyond maybe stimulation, where it's almost like I'm just seeing like the dream body almost like almost like electricity running through all around it. So like this, and it's like all running throughout the parts of the astral body itself. And then it's almost like after these, it's like after this astral body is finally like notified, like turned on, and it's like got this electricity running through it, or it's powered up, if you will. It's almost like there's this peacefulness or something, or this kind of wave of peacefulness or just quietness, and then I'm seeing this image of the separation happening, and then it's like there's this separation, and it's like, okay, there's the separation. And it's like then there's the freedom to, looks like, kind of do what you want. And I'm seeing it's almost like once you're separated and at least conscious out of the body, what it looks like to me from this perspective is, well, it looks as if you were just walking around. Like if you're doing this in your home, it looks like you would literally leave your body, and then it's as if it's almost like a replica or the same thing. It's like you're just walking around. The experience might be a little different, perhaps, but it looks the same. But again, though, I can see, again, it goes back to this intentional based. Everything's intent. Like I just literally see all these different scenarios popping up. Like you could use a window or a cabinet or a door, and suddenly open or go through it, and then suddenly you're in a different part of, like, you could end up in Japan, and like you're in the middle of time, like, I don't know what, not Times Square, but that you could just end up in the streets of Japan somewhere in Tokyo, and like it's again this weird intentional way of ending up somewhere else. Everything is everything looks very intentional based, and then it's just like, well, then you can go to different places on the planets. It looks like you could travel to different like astral realms, and then again, it looks almost very, at this point, the same thing as lucid dreaming. So I'm not sure how much. I don't know if there's really a difference. Is that this one
without actually having to go to sleep?
Right. That's the only thing I would notice to be the difference. Is that one is like you're waking up after being unconscious, and then this one you're just going literally from waking to just being out of the body, consciously. So to me, it looks all the same. So it's like once you're out and you're awake out of the body, it's like the same. Everything's,
once you're out, you're out.
Right. And then again, everything seems very intent based. I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of what you're saying, that lucid dreaming and astral projection are very much the same thing. It's just more lucid dreaming gives the body permission to sleep. And astral projection is like, no, body, stay awake, but go to those dream states, or go to those transcendental states. One thing that I'm reading is how helpful it is to, rather than be like, okay, I'm going to project like a catapult. Like, I'd like it to go there, but it's going to land where it's going to land, or like someone hitting a ball, like a pitcher sends you a ball and you hit the ball and it goes wherever it goes. Like, you can try to target the ball, and if you're a pro athlete, you get better at that. So it's like, if you're a pro athlete, astral projector, it looks like a helpful thing to do is to try to plan or have an intention of where you might want to go in the projection, rather than just end up wherever you end up. Which is probably where, the people that do the step 1, step 2, step 3 kinds of formats for projecting, that can be helpful. So it looks like, sometimes it's nice to be surprised, but to say, oh, I want to end up in the amphitheater. Oh, I want to end up in my Akashic records. Oh, I want to end up, on the Rainbow Bridge, or in the healing river of the Astral, or I really want to go to Japan. Or end up in Ireland when I project. That having a destination in mind, or an intention, can be helpful. Because you're also, like, I've heard some people talk about astral projecting and being like, oh, this is definitely not where I wanted to go, and being stuck, almost like in a nightmare, like being stuck in someone else's or something else's reality or dream reality, and being like, I need to get out of here. So having an intention for, I want to learn about this when I project, or I want to end up in this realm, or that can be helpful, rather than, let's see where I go. Right. That can be fun too. Depends.
Yeah. But kind of going off of what you just mentioned about, like, ending up in a nightmare. I looked at that because I'm sure that's a big concern for people that are, what happens if you end up in a nightmare, and it's absolutely terrible. Right. And I'm seeing it all, like, goes back to how lucid and how conscious you are out of the body, and it all, like, everything is like the power of literally the astral body's brain, and the center of the brain, and the consciousness there. It's like, it's all intent based and being awake. And in this case, I'm saying it looks like if you're in a nightmare, or just like a really bizarre situation that's like, not one where you want to be. It's like remembering, like, because I know I've heard a lot of these, and I know, like, this putting out this phrase, am I dreaming, and trying to become more lucid. And the same thing here. I'm saying is this my energy? It looks like that's a phrase or question where it's like, is this my own energy? And it's like it looks like throwing that question out and realizing, like, oh, this is not this is not even like what I desired, or like, this is not really me. It's like, you can, like, that thought can kind of, like, blow up the entire thing that you're in, and that might wake you up, and you might end up back in your physical body, or you might end up somewhere else in the dream space, or going from a blank slate kind of thing. And the same thing, it looks like dealing with things that are just really seem negative, whether it's an entity, or just, again, whatever type, maybe negative situation. It's realizing that you have some sort of that power and intent that you hold.
Right. And like, what is that phrase? Like, the only power dark energy has is to convince you that it has power, and that your own energy won't scare you necessarily, or your own energy will validate you. So if you end up in something that isn't of your creation, or isn't your energy, that if it's, say, a night terror, or a nightmare, or nightmarish, exactly what you're saying. Like, oh, is this my energy? Oh, do I want to be in agreement with it, or do I want to let this thing scare me?
Right.
And like, if it's in that idea of the power that something really negative has is to convince you it has power, at least in the dream realm.
Yeah.
And in the world of beings, like shine your light brighter, or just disagree and leave, or I'm not playing. I'm going to take my ball. I'm going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go home to my body.
Yeah, I see that clearly. I'm just getting all these different nightmare situations in the dream space, and it's always like something dark seems to want to make you think or believe that they're bigger or stronger or more powerful than you. And I'm always like getting all these images of like having like an epiphany and it's almost like the dark or negative energy, or if it's a being or whatever it is, it's almost like the it like shrinks. It's like you wake up to like, oh, like I'm actually bigger than this, or I'm more powerful than this. Like I can change this situation, the perspective of it. And the other thing is like I'm seeing tools that you have in like waking meditation can be applied to like in the dream space. It's like the practice of non-resistance. It's kind of like dealing with a bully in real life. How like when you just stop like giving them what they want, it's kind of like they just are like, okay, like I'm going to go on to the next person and mess with them instead of you because you're boring. It's kind of like that. Like I'm just seeing things kind of like when you're in a neutral state of mind, it's like it's just everything becomes like the charge goes down. Like it's not as scary and big as it's trying to claim to be, and then it just kind of like just goes away, or it's just not really a problem anymore.
It's the Wizard of Oz, and you find him behind the curtain.
Right, exactly. One other thing I saw, I don't know if it's even worth noting, going back to trying to project kind of just from if you're laying down or in a chair or something. I can see the 7 major chakras in the physical body, and I see all these. They look like little silver switches on the very back, and it's like it's almost like an on-off switch. Like it's like it shuts the chakra down. Like it literally, like what are the switches doing? And it looks like it literally will just shut the chakra down where they stop spinning. I'm like, oh, okay, like normally chakras, healthy chakras are always spinning, but in this situation they just literally turn off, like the light turns off, the chakra stops spinning. And then that's what I'm seeing is like the 3rd chakra sends some sort of message through the silver cord, and then that's kind of where I'm picking up from that last thing I was reading, where it's like, then the astral body lights up in a certain hue. And then it starts powering on and all this weird electricity thing, and then that's what I'm seeing there. So
that the astral body turns on in the dream space.
So it looks like this is all essentially what I'm reading here is it's like all these switches shut. It's like the body shutting down almost. It's like all these switches turn off and all the chakras turn off, and once all these switches are off, the chakras turn off. It's almost the body is like, it's almost like the body's going to sleep or is in a very relaxed state. And then this message gets sent out from the 3rd chakra physical body to the 3rd chakra of the astral body. And this is happening while the astral and physical body are connected still. And then that's the astral body starts turning on, it lights up, and then it starts to power on, and then all this electricity is just going up and back, like from the feet to the head, and then down to the feet and back to the head, and it's just electrifying everything, every part of the limbs of the astral body. Mm-hmm. And then it looks like it just like everything just it stops and it gets like really quiet. it's very eerie. Like I don't know why this would remind me of like, well, if someone did die or something, where it's just like there's this kind of weird eerie type peace where it's just calm, quiet, and that's what happens. It's just like everything just becomes quiet and still, and then there's this, and then the separation happens, and then I'm seeing it's like a successful out of body experience from that point. So but that looks like energetically I'm seeing that's what what it's looking like, which is pretty interesting.
That's fascinating. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like when we learned to do transcendental meditation in that spiritual autonomy class. And you would just like turn off, was it the first 3 chakras? You just like power them down.
Yeah, I remember something like that with. Yeah, I know how you set for trance was very different from like the regular clairvoyant training type trance. This one, like it goes. What I'm looking at looks very similar to that. It looks like it's just going deeper, where it's just like. It's not necessarily a setting. It's just like they're just all getting powered off, which is intriguing. Let's see here. Anything else you're seeing or want to?
Well, when I'm looking at the astral projection, it also, I mean, it is where, what I'm seeing is it's where we can go, where we would go in death, or we can go to meet people, beings that have passed on to the other side. That's one of the places we can go, is to commune with or run into our loved ones who have died. And so, there is that feeling of, wait, am I dead? And, because I'm talking to my deceased grandma, and so there can be that sense in the projection and in the kind of crossing through the Earth's atmosphere of communing with the dead, and also going to those really high places where we go and study in death, like the Akashic records or the threshold, or those will be future episodes.
Right.
In all those different playgrounds and field trips on the astral level, and but it's doing it without dying, and it's doing it very consciously. And I'm also seeing that sometimes when we're leaving the body and projecting out, we're crossing through where loved ones went when they were dying. So there is that feeling of, wait, am I dying?
Oh, right.
So it's like maybe a little bit of crossed wires, and all of those messages of the parts of us that are tethered to the earth that are like, don't go there, but it's perfectly fine to go there.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. I just I'll wrap one last picture, and then what I'm seeing is, looks like a lot of people on the planet are generally unconscious, and are usually, what I'm noticing are, not saying that's a negative or bad thing, I'm just an observation.
Right.
It looks like most people tend to get stuck kind of some at the lower realms of the astral.
Right.
It does look like, it looks like if you are out of your body and pretty conscious, it looks like you could run into other beings that have bodies, and it looks like you can differentiate who's unconscious and who's lucid. Like you could literally see someone else that's just kind of wandering around. They look kind of just, you might notice some white, or it looks like it's easy to identify, like, oh, okay, like this is someone that's dreaming right now, and they're not aware.
Their body's like, I'm driving to work right now.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I'm up here on the astral realm.
Right.
Psychic humor.
My
body has no idea how I ended up at work, but...
Right. Get off the cell phone. No. Yeah. So that, and then it looks like it's very easy to notice someone else that's conscious, like yourself, if you happen to be conscious. The energy just looks very different. The energy looks stagnant, and just there's a lot of white haze and kind of
Mm-hmm.
and not as much movement. Whereas someone else that you might come across that's awake in their dreams, it's the mobility and vibrancy and a wakefulness. You can literally see it just within the movement and the color in them. So that's what I'll see. That's the way I'll wrap up with what I got.
Thanks so much for asking me to do this with you. I kind of put it out of my mind because I had so much resistance. So I was just like, just come clean to the reading. Don't put too much thought into it. Just go.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I always learn a lot from these. Yeah, I could feel.
I learned so much from you. Are you kidding?
Okay. Well, I know you gotta head out here, and so I'll close this out. Everyone that was listening and watching, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or whatever it may be. And thank you, Erin, for coming along here and doing this reading with me. And
thank you, Andrew.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy your dreams.
Absolutely.